Well, you're talking about how difficult some of the bosses are. I think that's a great segue into combat. Let's talk about combat in this game, because it is one of my favorite combat mechanics of any RPG. I adore the combat in this game. And thank you, Teddy, for adding some of these notes in here. There's a 3-attack system, an element grid, a color grid. We have summons, and if you're bold, you could find some double and triple techs. What do you guys think of the combat in Chrono Cross?
I wish there were more double and triple techs.
Oh my! Well, that ties into the character count to me. It's like
yeah. Oh, so we're talking about character viability. If you want a viability for double triple techs, I hope you enjoy using turnip or like some of these throwaways. I could actually tell you which ones they are.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Well, I know one is stupid because it involves Sprig and New Game Plus, because you get it from beating Slash. And then you beat Slash, and you can triple tech with, I believe, Kid and Surge. And I'm like, I got to do that much just to get a triple tech? That's fucking bullshit.
So there are a total of 2 triple tech skills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double tech skills. We run down the list?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so the double techs. X-Strike is Glenn and Surge's double tech skill. Double Take is Kid and Mel's double tech skill. Sword Storm is Guile and Snef's double tech skill. Pitch Black is Growbike and Norris's double tech skill. I love Growbike, by the way. Vital Force is Viper and Radius's double tech skill. Dragon Spike is Karsh and Zoa's double tech skill. See, there's one I can kind of agree with. Mickey and Nikki, double tech skill is Flamenco.
That one makes sense to me.
Draggy Rider is Leah and Draggy's double tech skill. I can get that one. It's like the Ayla, just kind of
aesthetic.
Yeah. Toss Salad is Turnip and Neo Fio's double tech skill.
I thought that was a single tech, but okay.
I'll make this a party. Triple attacks, Surge, Lena, and Razily have Delta attack. It's a white attack, and Surge, Kid, and Sprig have the Z/, which is a blue attack.
Yeah. Yeah, did you hear that? Surge? Surge, who's inherently white. What is Sprig again? Sprig is...
Black, I think?
Green.
Oh, green, yeah.
And then you have Kid, who's red, and it gets you blue. What the fuck?
Look, one of the things I think everybody loves about Chrono Trigger is the double text and the triple text, and just how like they kind of you get them, and it's fun.
That's what everyone talks about.
Everyone.
I thought you were talking about Chrono Cross. You're like, I'm joking.
Oh yeah. And like one of the things they love is like, oh yeah, and you can like every character you can like get a cool double attack with, or double tech or triple tech, and it's like, oh, like it's a great like progression. It's a way to enhance your connection with your other party members. In this game, it's like the exact opposite. They're like, we're gonna very rarely do it, and it'll be the most inconvenient parties we can find.
Yeah, and not all of them are payoffs. Like Glenn and Surge initially, I didn't really care for Dash and Slash. I was just like, whatever, use them separately. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, X-Strike. My bad. But I will say, it's like everyone copied off of Magus. It's like, don't double tech with anybody unless you absolutely have to. It's ridiculous, man. It's bullshit. I wish there was more.
I'll tell you what, though. Once I figured out about like level 7 tech skills, once I got Fargo's, it was invincible all the way. That and the frog summons too, which I didn't get too many summons. Did you guys?
I got them all. You get them all through the dragons.
Yeah.
No, maybe I just didn't find a way to use them or something. Yeah, but so the hard thing about the summons, and it's funny because we're starting with the most complicated stuff first.
Yeah, and we'll slowly get to the fact that you can attack.
Yeah.
Apologize to the viewers on YouTube and Reddit. We're sorry. No, the summons, it sucks because to do the summons, you have to have a full field effect. And to have a full field effect, you have to have 3 elements of the same color used. But what that doesn't account for is that your party is at different agilities than the enemies that you're facing on the field. And so they can interrupt your sequencing so that you are building the full color for your summons. And if they are actually aiding to that, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help you, because they are of an element color generally that, because it's the same as whatever the summons you're using, it's going to be weak on them. So I found summons very, very difficult to pull. You get the white one, and oh yeah, I can't wait to use it on Surge. Yeah, I think I used it once in the entire game.
It's so overpowered.
Yeah, Saints.
The white one is insanely strong.
That's how I beat
It heals
Fate.
your party too.
Yeah. But to that point, when I was using Frog Prince to try and beat Dario, because I had Marcy on my team, I was like, this is stupid. I pretty much have to hope he does, was it Nimble or Nimble or Numble, which is blue, and then I have to be able to cast turn blue onto me, and then be able to cast another blue attack. Or another blue ability before he does something else like murder me, and then go from there. It's so dumb, and every other time I got it wrong, it was run away and reset.
Yeah, summons are pretty dumb. The only reason I adapted to using them was to get the rainbow equipment, and it's not even necessary, but it'd be nice to have on a New Game Plus, so I figured I'd just go for it.
Yeah, that is the pro tip, by the way, to run away if you're like having a hard time in battles. Although in Garai's battle, that was the one battle I couldn't run away from, and that was the one that was kicking my ass.
Yeah, I soft reset like 5 times. I was like, this is bullshit. I fucking hate that fight. But White Knight, man, White Knight saves the day.
And you mentioned it, but the color grid, every attack. And again, we're going backwards on on this list of complicated things, but. Color grid would be every move you do as far as an element, that color element will fill the grid. It's not really that, like, it seems like it's going to be complicated or hard to understand at first, but it's really just moves are stronger if they're on the grid, and if the grid's filled up, they're a little bit stronger then.
Yeah.
And if you have the opposite color, then it will weaken that element, but because you're using it, you're already breaking the sequence. It ends up becoming kind of a non-issue, I think.
Yeah, it's not. There's a lot of really cool mechanics in this that aren't really fleshed out as well as I'd like, but I don't know. I do enjoy it. We have 2 more things to talk about: the attack system or the element grid. I guess going backwards.
Element grid.
Let's just tackle that element grid. Okay.
There's no element grid.
Do you want to tackle the math on this one? All right, go ahead. Let's hear it.
So the element grid, there are 6 primary elements. There are the 6 colors that we had mentioned previously: white, black, green, red, blue, yellow. They don't necessarily correspond that way. But each one is strong to an opposite color: white to black, yellow to blue, red to
yellow
green.
To green.
Did I get that? Red to blue, red to blue, and yellow to green. Yeah. And then vice versa for all of those. And then also, if an element is used on the same enemy of the same color element, or against yourself of the same color element, it'll be weak to it. You get a number of different skills. You could think of these as like in Pokemon, your technical machines or something. You might get Fireball. You might get what's another one? I haven't played this in a minute.
Magma Bomb.
Magma Bomb, right?
And
so one would be like a level 1 element versus a level 2, and it goes all the way up to like 7 or 8. I don't know if actually there's any.
It might even go to 9, but yeah, 8 for sure.
And so every character has a number of spots on this kind of like sideways pyramid, I guess you could think of it, that's ever growing as your overall level grows within the game. As you're fighting more bosses, you're going to get these levels naturally. And so you can put more elements according to these power levels, so to speak, on the grid. So like Fireball is a level 1, so you would probably put it in the level 1 slot. Magma Burst is level 2, so you can't put it in level 1, or you could, but it would be -1.
Yeah.
You could put it on a level 3 slot, it would be +1. Those are also kind of non-issues because the difference in power, depending on where you put it, is very low. But I think one thing that's great about the element grid is that there are no restrictions as far as putting any color element on a party member of that element color. Say you have Kid, who is a red element color. That doesn't mean she can't use white or blue elements unless they are specifically designated, which very few are, as only for characters of that element color.
Yeah.
How am I doing with this so far?
Great. The only thing we got to talk about okay. A summon is a 6 or 8 star?
I thought it was
Yeah,
7.
okay.
Maybe
So
7.
there are also 3 tech skills, and then summon skills would be on the highest bracket of that. But the level 7 tech skill is hold on a sec. There are 3 tech skills: a level 3, a level 5, and a level 7. The level 3 and the level 5 come naturally for every character, and they are distinct from all of the other characters. Each one has their own moves. It's kind of a flashy move thing for Chrono Cross. The level 7 you have to unlock by doing some story tied sequence, which most of the time is optional for that character, but a great way to kind of get to know your character and to open up the party, let's just say.
All right, and then the only thing we have to talk about is how to fill up the element grid, which has to do with the 3 attack system.
You guys can do that one.
All right, I'll do this one. So the element grid is filled up in combat. It starts out at 0 unless you have an item that will help you do otherwise. And it's filled up through the 3 attack system. The 3 attack system has a low, which is a high percentage hit. Well, okay. It has 3 attacks. There's a 1, 2, and a 3. A 1 is a low damage, high percentage hit. The 2 is medium, medium, and the 3 is a high damage, low percentage hit. So what that means is you have a better chance of hitting a 1 than you would a 3, but you will do less damage. That's the basic idea of the combat system, and I absolutely adore it because it makes every fight feel more visceral and feel more of like a strategic battle on how you're playing instead of just an attack button and then your turn is over. Now, the attack, that number also correlates with your stamina. So if you have 7 stamina, you can do a 1 attack and then you'll have 6 stamina. You can go in combat until you run out of stamina. Now a 3 will take 3. So you have to adjust accordingly. But once you're past 0, your turn ends. So, with that being said, that number also affects the element grid. And you will progress further to the right depending on what number you choose. So if you've done a 1 attack, you will gain 1 square to the right on the element grid, working your way up to whatever the max is, and you can't save anything, but there you go. So if you're playing as a more of an attacker, like my Surge usually is, then you focus on doing a lot of damage with your attacks. So you might do a 2, 3, or you might try to focus on just getting strong hits that way. If you're a spellcaster, your main focus of attacking is just to build up the element grid. And you would do that with like a Guile who has actually a reverse element grid, that's what JD was talking about earlier. His actually opens up to the right instead of right to left, or sorry, left to right. But if you're a mage, you're trying to do that. So what's cool about the system is that it enables you to play in a different way depending on what your goal is as a character. So I really adore it, and I love how flexible it is, and it's definitely the high point of combat for me. And I know that if you're hearing this and you haven't played Chrono Cross, your head might be spinning a little bit, but it becomes second nature about, I don't know. I guess I should ask you guys, how quickly did you guys adapt to this kind of combat system?
I'd probably say by like Viper Manor. I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. Like, because the other thing too is like when you fight Lucia's little things, her little experiments, like I actually wiped on that. And I was like, oh, great. So going back, it made a little bit more sense. I didn't really have too much like sphere grids or sphere grids. Final Fantasy 10. Yeah.
That's the second time you've done that, by the way.
Is it really?
Bring that Final Fantasy 10 in here.
I haven't played it in a minute. I don't know what that is. But yeah, the element grid, I didn't really have too much to work with, but I was starting to pick up on it. I think I really started to understand it when I was doing, when I was playing as, by the time you already switched to Lynx, because I'm leveling up more. So everything's a little bit more expanded. You get other characters. You see how their element grid is set up. So I'd say fully understand it, like, by the time I changed, but like I was figuring it out by Viper Manor. I was just like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Took me probably, so the first time I played this, I played it for about 3 hours and put it down. I just didn't remember much about it, but I definitely didn't have a grasp of what the hell I was doing then. It was complicated and I was getting confused. This time I probably got a decent grasp of it 3 hours in, around Viper Manor. I wouldn't say I mastered it until very late in the game, though. In fact, I was doing the attack building in an unadvisable manner. I was going in terms of accuracy. I was doing that for every single character. I was doing a 1, 2, and 3 attack when they actually advise for your high hitters to do a fierce attack, which is your level 3, and try and do another fierce attack, and then you could do a level 1 attack, and then you can bust the element out. That's actually the important thing to think about, is like, how well are you setting yourself up to use elements, and are you going to need them? Generally, this was an element saturated game for me. It's like, make sure you're getting your elements out on the field, and that you're recharging your stamina with the other characters by the time that you have casted them. So you actually don't want to miss attacks later on, because that can really set you up so that you're actually losing turns, and that can be devastating. But it's the only way to get healing. There are a couple other things I loved about this game. We talked about the runaway thing, but I love how after every battle, it gives you the option to heal from remaining element usage. You don't have to go into your inventory and bust out items to heal, and there is no necessary mana bar, so that your characters are potentially depleting mana throughout the experience. It was actually just super convenient and really helped me with things like exploration and even just advancement through the game. So in general, I know it sounds complicated with the description if this is new to you, if you haven't played Chrono Cross, but it becomes second nature after a while. It was not the intentions of the developers to make something convoluted and complicated. You could play a PC game for that. Maybe you could play Radical Dreamers. But Chrono Cross is very much user-friendly and accessible once you just play around with it.
One thing I like that you mentioned that at the end of the thing. That's why with Surge, I would do a lot of defending, because I would just build up my elements a lot, and then at the end of the combat, it would auto recover all. It's just a really easy way to get through it, and just you never had to worry about healing, because it would just auto cast it.
You could also pick which character you wanted to start with. There was no necessary like agility stat, from what I could tell.
I believe there is.
There is, and I wonder what it affects, because there isn't really nothing. Combat itself isn't affected by it. It might be like dodging, or you're like, because there's no turn order. Like that doesn't exist. So it might be like dodging.
I mean, well, so there's that, but like when I was doing, for instance, Dario, that was the fight I did the most. I had forgot who I had in place, because they were like, hey, put Riddle in there because she's gonna get fucking killed, and you want her to get killed because you want her to take the first hit, and then you can revive her, because he does that little attack where he throws his sword in the sky and it comes down, and it always hits her. She always gets to move first. But back when I think I had Fargo on my team first, and he never attacked first. It was always someone else. But then the minute I switched to Riddle, she always attacked first. So maybe it does have bearing?
I'm not sure. I looked it up. Agility modifies your evasion rate. So it might be something else. There might be another stat that has to affect that. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Oh, and maybe your hit percentage as well.
For agility?
Yeah, for agility.
Let's look up all these stats.
Evasion and percentage usually go hand in hand.
Hold on. Okay.
Don't know.
Hit points, obviously, are just how much health you have. Strength determines how much damage you'll do with physical attacks and physically based techniques. Resilience determines how much damage you take from physical attacks and physically based techniques. Magic damage. Magic resilience, magic resistance. Accuracy is, you're right, how often you hit with physical attacks. While important with the best weapons on star level 9. Okay, this has to do with maxing it out. Oh, that's accuracy. I'm sorry. Accuracy determines your physical attacks. Agility is evading. Attack is irrelevant because it's based on strength, defense. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. It's pretty... I mean, the stats themselves are pretty simple and clear-cut. So yeah, that's weird that there is no... Because a lot of games will have that agility to calculate turn order. This game doesn't really do that at all. So. What do you guys think overall of this combat system? I mean, we got... At the time, the main combat system is the active time battle system. The one brought in Chrono Trigger, and you see it in Final Fantasy 7, 9, etc. How does this stack up?
I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm actually okay with ATB and non-ATB games, like Final Fantasy X, for instance, it's not ATB, and that's okay. Final Fantasy 9 is correct.
Yeah.
7 is ATB. 8, I believe, is ATB. It's okay. I don't think it's a problem, and I don't think it's a detriment. I think true turn-based RPGs still have a place, because so long as you make your game like strategic enough, it really doesn't matter. Like if everyone's just attacking, yeah, okay, that's boring. But if you're like, okay, hey, I need a second to plan out what I'm doing, especially in Chrono Cross, because it is more complex, especially if you're trying to fucking summon, you know, it's very easy to be like, dude, I need to plan this shit like 3 steps in advance. I need to get this guy to get his shit back. So I'm going to attack a little bit, and then I'm going to, you know, cast this attack. This guy will get his stamina to do this. And then we allow this guy to summon, you know, hopefully, or something like that. So I think it's great.
The thing is, like, you know, traditional turn-based RPG will usually just involve you picking the commands, and yes, there is customization and, you know, concept driving, like strategizing and how will you take down enemies, and there are different ways you can do it. This is very much a team effort, because every character's actions directly affect the next character's actions, what they're actually able to do. And so planning does become a part of it, but I rarely see a game that is like this conceived, I guess, in terms of your internalization of how is the party doing. You know, other games, like we're playing SMT3 right now, okay, a demon dies, okay, cool, I'll summon another one. I know I can summon this one, they'll be pretty effective. In this one, it's really just like, you are the team, you have to hold it down, you need to set it up so that kid can pull off the level 7 magma shooter or whatever the tech skill is, which I knew. Also so that you can pull recover alls, which are blue skills, with whatever your blue character is, or the white character, because they have those as well. So I think it's very interesting how it makes you conceive of combat, going into combat, and also just, you know, and getting the opportunity to see some of the flair and the flashiness of tech skills. Maybe I want to see Starkey's, you know, calling down the Star Guardian in this turn, or maybe next time I just want to see Surge do Luminaire, you know, and so there is a lot of thought that goes into it. And so I really thought it was a very thoughtful experience, and I enjoyed that.